Leadership TV for God and country.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Okay. I don't want to be funny. So we don't
Leadership TV for God and country.
the Thursday edition of your number one breakfast show on television inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Ugbebo, and it sure feels good to be here with you today after yesterday's absence on the show. As usual, on the program we have the first segment, which is now where we'll be reviewing some headline stories on some select newspapers on our menu today. And of course, we have Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership, Nigerian Tribune, Vanguard, Blueprint, The Guardian, THISDAY, and Daily Independent. And of course, also as usual on the program, we like to flag up with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Let's see what Leadership is leading with this today, Thursday, August 10, 2023. Leadership says Niger crisis, Islamic Council, Catholic bishops warn against military invasion. Niger crisis, Islamic Council, Catholic bishops warn against military invasion. Ask Tinubu ECOWAS to retrace steps. Emir Sanusi briefs president on discussion with junta leader in Niamey. NGE, that is Nigerian Guild of Editors, calls for strategic engagement diplomacy. ECOWAS leaders meet over crisis today. Of course, I'll take that leading story once again. Niger crisis, Islamic Council, Catholic bishops warn against military invasion. Asks Tinubu ECOWAS to retrace steps. Emir Sanusi briefs president on discussion with junta leader in Niamey. NGE calls for strategic engagement diplomacy, and ECOWAS leaders meet over crisis today, Thursday, August 10, 2023. And we have stories beside that leading story. State creation, NAS will be fair to all, Barau assures. Job racketeering, reps give IP's boss orders 24-hour deadline. Emefiele moves to stop prosecution by DSS. The story is on page 6 of Leadership. We move above that and we see it only 25% of Nigeria's primary healthcare centers functioning, according to the investigation carried out by Leadership. Only 25% of Nigeria's primary healthcare centers functioning. For more on that, log on to the website of Leadership. And of course, the story is on page 7 of Leadership newspaper. Leadership Le Vogue and all glossy colored pull-out fashion magazine, Style magazine, will be out this Sunday, 13th of August 2023. Don't miss it. Get a copy. Of course, it's an insert in Leadership Sunday. Above the masthead of Leadership, we have Tribunal Justice orderly denies working for Tinubu. Tribunal Justice orderly denies working for Tinubu. Condemnation trace murder of Shekuri in Gombe. Oh, so unfortunate. Condemnation trace murder of Shekuri in Gombe. We move over to the page 3 of Leadership, where we have our stand is the editorial of the paper. And today's editorial is on deadly folly of scooping petrol. Deadly folly of scooping petrol. For more on that, you log on to the website of Leadership. And just before we go, we move over to the back page of Leadership, where we have Muazu Elize. Being blunt with Muazu Elize, topic today is Edo on nothing the Obaseki Shaibu feud. On nothing the Obaseki Shaibu feud. Muazu Elize is the group managing director of Leadership Media Group. And Ghana Must Go says we may be forced to invade Niger Republic, US. And of course, guess what the reply is? You will be forced to bear the brunt. Funny, isn't it? For more on that, the back page, column, and front. To the next paper on our menu is still on Nigeku. It's still on Nigeku. We move over to Tribune. Let's have Nigerian Tribune on our screen this morning. Nigerian Tribune says it's still on the impasse in Niger Republic. Nigerian Tribune says ECOWAS leaders meet today over Niger. As ECOWAS leaders meet today over Niger, Southern Middle Belt leaders, Catholic bishops, Islamic clerics, NGE warn against military action. That's the leading story on Nigerian Tribune this Thursday. Sorry. ECOWAS leaders meet today over Niger, Southern Middle Belt leaders, Catholic bishops, Islamic clerics, NGE warn against military action. Sanusi meets school leaders, visits Aso Villa after Niamey return. We have other stories gracing the cover of Nigerian Tribune this Thursday. Oh, sorry, why am I going back? Sorry, this Thursday. We have Akpabio under fire over remarks on token given to lawmakers for vacation. Akpabio under fire over remarks on token given to lawmakers for vacation. Security of schools will get special attention, Ribadu. Security of schools will get special attention, Ribadu. Presidential Committee on Tax Policy says customs 62 MDAs may stop revenue collection. Presidential Committee on Tax Policy says customs 62 MDAs may stop revenue collection. FIROS more suited for role. 2 kids as truck rams vehicles on Echo Bridge. 2 kids as truck rams 5 vehicles on Echo Bridge. Tinubu meets El-Rufai Wike. The story is on page 23 of Nigerian Tribune. And of course, we move over above the masthead of Nigerian Tribune. We have GlaxoSmithKline's exit, review impact of economic reforms on real sector. Nachima urges federal government. GlaxoSmithKline's exit, review impact of economic reforms on real sector. Nachima wants federal government. Government's policy choices responsible for divestment capital flights. NECA. Government's policy choices responsible for divestment capital flights. NECA. Nominations open for 2023 Obafemi Awolowo Leadership Prize. Nominations open for 2023 Obafemi Awolowo Leadership Prize. For more on that, log on to the website of Nigerian Tribune. And before we leave Nigerian Tribune, okay, www.tribuneonlineng.com. But before we leave Nigerian Tribune, we also have other stories. We want to move to the editorial of the paper. Let's see what the editorial is saying today. Today, Thursday, August 10, 2023. And of course, the editorial is on the Ivoire Diaso incident. The Ivoire Diaso incident, talking about the doctor that was the lift that died in the lift in Lagos last week, which generated so much outrage in the nation. From Nigerian Tribune, we move over to the next paper we have on our menu, Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with still on Nigeku. Nigeku, Sanusi meets junta leaders, briefs Tinubu. Nigeku, Sanusi meets junta leaders, briefs Tinubu. Don't adopt military means to force illegal government out of power, SMBLF. NGE calls for strategic engagement diplomacy, says military intervention and aberration. urges Tinubu governors to fulfill promises on economic interventions. NSCIA advises ECOWAS against sanctions on Niger, urges dialogue. Niger's rebel launches anti-coup movement in full sign of internal resistance. Of course, on Vanguard, we have a picture of Emir Sanusi with the head of the military junta in Niger Republic. We have resident doctors suspend nationwide protest. Edo ESCO condemns Shaibu over impeachment saga. Illegal checkpoint. IGP squad arrests police immigration officers. Bandits K3 in Taraba. We lacked motivation support from NFF Onumonu 2023 WWC. We lacked motivation support from NFF Onumonu. We have constitution review. Senate assures promoters of Tiga Gari states in Kano. Constitution review. Senate assures promoters of Tiga Gari states in Kano. FIRS more suited to collect revenues for government presidential committee. We move over the masthead of Vanguard, where we have OPS raises alarm over surge in capital flights, business closures. Emefiele asks court to stop federal government from further prosecuting him. Kano CJ gives magistrate court 6 months to dispose pending cases. 2023, all eyes now on judiciary. Owerri Catholic bishops. And just like we did before, we are moving to the editorial page. Of course, in Vanguard is commentary. So we are moving to the commentary page of Vanguard newspaper. And of course, just like this Nigerian Tribune, incidentally, Vanguard's commentary is on Dr. Vuare Diaso's avoidable death. What a coincidence. It's something that has continued to generate an outcry from Nigerians all across the country. Dr. Vuare Diaso's avoidable death. For more on that, for the inside stories and headline stories, log on to the website of Vanguard, www.vanguardngr.com. From Vanguard, we are having Blueprint next on our menu. Blueprint is still on Niger coup. Incidentally, all the papers are still on Niger coup because it's a developing story. Blueprint says Niger coup truth likely as Emir Sanusi meets coup leaders. Niger coup truth likely as Emir Sanusi meets coup leaders. Retrace your steps to avoid calamity. NSCIA conscience Tinubu. WAANSA wants ECOWAS. France says crisis will aggravate IDP's illegal arms. Tinubu sends Islamic preachers to Pali junta. Only practitioners or genuine media investors should be granted licenses. Malaji. Only practitioners or genuine media investors should be granted licenses. Malaji. Visit to Nigeria will ensure dignity for citizens. World Bank President. Visit to Nigeria will ensure dignity for citizens. World Bank President. Nigerians facing hard times. Editors. Subsidy. Governors roll out palliatives for citizens nationwide. Renewed hope. APC chieftain Lukman wants performance targets for ministers. Urges restoration of constitutional order in APC. The story is on page 6 of Blueprint newspaper. Renewed hope. APC chieftain Lukman wants performance targets for ministers. That's a good one. And of course, we move over where we have just beneath the masthead, Tinubu must resist temptation of naming self petroleum minister. Tinubu must resist temptation of naming self petroleum minister. CNPP. Only 20% women practice exclusive breastfeeding in Jigawa. Experts. Only 20% women practice exclusive breastfeeding in Jigawa. Expert stories on page 15 of Blueprint newspaper. And just like we make a brief stop on the editorial page of Blueprint to see what the editorial is saying today. The editorial page is on the redundancy of ministers of state. The redundancy of ministers of state. Find out more as you log on to the website of Blueprint for inside stories and continuation of headline stories, www.blueprint.ng. That's all we can take on Blueprint as we move over to the next paper, The Guardian. The Guardian's leading story says long road to peace as ECOWAS school leaders maintain positions. Long road to peace as ECOWAS school leaders maintain positions. We have the picture of Emir Sanusi with President Bola Tinubu, and also with the head of the military junta in Niger, General Chiani, yesterday. And other stories on the cover, The Guardian has it. Why extension of UTME result validity impracticable by Oloyode, the JAMB registrar. Why extension of UTME result validity impracticable by Oloyede. Time to end bloodletting in Southeast. Time to end bloodletting in the Southeast. Oyedele seeks for comprehensive review of tax laws. Oyedele seeks comprehensive review of tax laws. And above these leading stories, we have dollar breaks 900 naira to a dollar ceiling, heads to 950 naira per dollar at alternative markets. Dollar breaks 900 naira to per dollar ceiling, heads to 950 per dollar at alternative markets. Customs enforces presidential directive on Nigeria-Niger border closure. Customs enforces presidential directive on Nigeria-Niger border closure. NNPP chairman Tako Kwankwaso say party not another Kwankwasia group. NNPP chairman Tako Kwankwaso say party not another Kwankwasia group. Stories on page 30 of The Guardian, and above that we have reps orders AGF to produce IPs officer, queries AMCON budget office. For more on that, log on. Just go to the page 4 of The Guardian. And just before you log on to the website, let's quickly make a dash to the editorial page of The Guardian today, Thursday, August 10, 2023. And of course, The Guardian today's editorial is on time to end bloodletting in the Southeast. It's actually a commentary that started from the cover. Time to end bloodletting in the Southeast. For more on that, inside stories, continuation of headline stories, log on to the website of The Guardian, www.guardian.ng. The next paper we have on our menu is Daily Independent. Daily Independent newspaper. Daily Independent says, further Naira devaluation. Further Naira devaluation seen. Now exchanges for 917 Naira per dollar. Further Naira devaluation seen. Now exchanges for 917 Naira per dollar. Federal government may be forced to review forex liberalization policy, analyst. I'll take that again. Further Naira devaluation seen. Now exchanges for 917 Naira per dollar. Federal government may be forced to review foreign exchange liberalization policy, analyst. Nigeria loses 3.46 trillion naira to poor infrastructure orders at ports. Nigeria loses 3.46 trillion naira to poor infrastructure orders at ports. Reps threatening to invoke powers against IP's APCON budget office. Reps threatening to invoke powers against IP's APCON budget office. Emefiele asked court to stop DSS from further prosecuting him. Subsidy remover Ekiti okays 5,000 monthly to 10,000 poor households food distribution. Subsidy remover Ekiti okays 5,000 monthly to 10,000 poor households food distribution. Supreme Islamic Council opposes sanctions military action in Niger. Supreme Islamic Council opposes sanctions military action in Niger. Southern Middle Belt leaders ask Tinubu to address crisis peacefully. Sanusi meets Niger Republic's military junta in Niamey. Former CBN governor, Muslim clerics meet Tinubu. Promise to intervene in embattled Niger Republic. We have Atlantic Ocean surge jeopardizes Bayelsa communities. Diri laments, that is the governor of Bayelsa State. Atlantic Ocean surge jeopardizes Bayelsa communities. Diri laments. We move over to the masthead of stories above the masthead of Daily Independent, where we have Niger coup, Nigerian Guild of Editors calls for strategic engagement diplomacy. Niger coup, Nigerian Guild of Editors calls for strategic engagement diplomacy. Urges Tinubu governors to fulfill promises on economic interventions. Nigerian Guild of Editors urges Tinubu governors to fulfill promises on economic interventions. Breastfeeding lowers risk of breast ovarian cancers. Breastfeeding lowers risk of breast ovarian cancers, NAFDAC. For more on that, you log on to the website of Daily Independent. And just before we leave Daily Independent, we are moving to the editorial page of the paper. We want to see what the editorial is on today. That is what the paper is saying, its stance, so to speak. Daily Independent's editorial is on. It says, our view, organ harvesting in Nigeria matters are rising. Organ harvesting in Nigeria matters are rising. For more on that, inside stories and continuation of headline stories, you have to log on to the website of Daily Independent newspaper, www.independent.ng, www.independent.ng. Yeah, just before we go, we have the last paper on our menu, and that is THISDAY. THISDAY is still leading on the development or developing stories on Niger coup, and it says diplomacy back on table as Sanusi meets Niger coup leader Tinubu. Diplomacy back on table as Sanusi meets Niger coup leader Tinubu. ECOWAS may consider 1-year military transition and elections. Muslim clerics step in to help further diplomatic resolution. Nigerian politicians write president want sanctions lifted. Catholic bishops warn against repeating Libya's experience. Address causes of coup in West Africa. Falana tells leaders. Very oddly refused alleged plan to influence tribunal judges. Because we have a picture of Emir Sanusi in his meeting with Niger coup leaders, gracing the cover of THISDAY. We have GlaxoSmithKline, NECA, Nachima lament business closures in Nigeria. GlaxoSmithKline, NECA, Nachima lament business closures in Nigeria. The story is on page 5 of the Guardian of THISDAY, and we have just below that, we have WHO declares new COVID-19 strain variant of interest. WHO declares new COVID-19 strain variant of interest. As we move over to the story above the masthead of THISDAY, Dangote hails Tinubu's quest to ramp up tax collection, block revenue leakages. Dangote hails Tinubu's quest to ramp up tax collection, block revenue leakages. Expresses confidence in Oyedele-led committee. Harps on need to widen tax net digitalized system. Says Dangote Group pays more tax than entire banking industry. Reveals Dangote Cement pays $300 million weekly as VAT. Federal government plans to make FIRS sole revenue collection agency. And the story continues on page 9 of the paper. For more on that, you also move over to the page 9 of the paper and the head and the website. But before we leave this day, let's see what this day is saying on its editorial today. on what he's saying through his editorial today. And this day's editorial is on revamping the national parks. Revamping the national parks. The parks are potential sources of foreign exchange. The federal government should expedite action on the commercialization, especially of the tourism aspects of the parks, to put them on good financial stead. And with that, we finish today's headline stories review. And just before we leave, I urge you to log on to the website of Thisday newspaper, www.thisdaylive.com. So viewers, this is where we end the first segment of the program, newspaper review. Don't forget the second segment is just about to start, as we have our guest already. Our Thursday guest is a political scientist. He's also a public affairs analyst at Adefolari Olamilekon. Don't go away. It seems big.
For God and country.
It's battery charge now.
Huh?
Charge.
Well, it's not better for them to just.
What happened?
The battery batteries.
Leadership TV for God and country.
Hello viewers, welcome back to the second segment of your show Inside Nigeria, reaching you on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Kwebo, and I have my Thursday guest in the house. As you can see, he's a political scientist. He's also a public affairs analyst, Olamilekon Adefolari. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thanks, and a very good morning to you.
Yeah, very good morning to you. It's been raining. We woke up to see the rains today. Of course, the weather is calm. Now, the papers, national papers today are washed out with still the same developing story on Niger junta. Now, everybody's of the opinion. Nigerians from both sides of the divide said no military intervention in junta.
It's very serious because the consequence of having a military intervention or military action against Niger will be much deeper and devastating, because most of us are now afraid, okay, we'll be having an influx of refugees, an influx of people, of IDPs, an influx of so many economic deteriorating aspects from war. Because at the end of the day, the moment there's what they call it, the moment there's military action against Niger, many people will be scared of staying inside Niger. You can see what is happening in Sudan right now. Yes. Many people are left the country, and that's why many people are concerned. That's why I said there's no military action. But let us go to a round table and have a dialogue about this. And we can see it's like dialogue thing is what people are already pushing for. And that's also what ECOWAS is also striving for. Because with this, they can be able to achieve at a minimum success. Although we know what will happen, because let me just put it this way. By the time they go into the dialogue and it's okay, we are going to give the military like 1 year. The military may not be satisfied with 1 year, they may even extend it to 2 years. It's better than a military action that many people are pushed earlier for.
But now the junta has made taking a step further. They nominated the prime minister and economist yesterday.
Definitely, that very beautiful in the sense that it will now make them to concentrate on the economy, while the junta concentrate on dialogue. Because since this incident happened, the economy of Niger have been down. So there is no policy statement on the economy. There is no policy discussion or policy action on the economy. Now they have a prime minister and an economist for that matter. It means that there's going to be a dialogue in the aspect of the economy, like the sanctions that ECOWAS have put on them. That person can come with that angle and submit paper that the juntas can also use to advance the agreement and the ECOWAS stand. And that will also help them in a long way. But we just hope that at the end of the day, this set of people will not perpetuate themselves in power. Because we have seen it happen in other African countries. The person they choose as prime minister, by the time they set up the transition table, that's when that person now be saying which want to contest.
No, it's a prime minister. I think they have also a president. They are not named who's going to be the president.
No, the thing is that the transition program are jettisoning whatever that is existing as we stand right now. What it means that anybody that is holding any position in Niger, your position is void.
Yes, because
You
the president
cannot
has
stand.
already resigned.
Exactly.
We saw
Now
it
they are
yesterday.
not looking for another opportunity to have a new transition that will now bring a new set of people, a new workable constitution. Now the prime minister they appointed is just an acting one. He is not backed by the law, because you know anytime military junta take over power,
And
first
suspend
they suspend the constitution.
Yes.
So as the person is acting right, he's just an acting prime minister. He's not backed by any law, but he's enjoying the prerogative of the law that the military that are sitting on, and that's why he's there. But by the time they now set up a timetable, there will be a constitutional review committee and there will be a passage of the law. And that will now usher them into a new transition whereby political party, and don't forget that the current political party that exists before now have all been sacked. They don't exist anymore. A new political party will be formed. And what I'm trying to point out, this person that we are appointing as a military guy will now want to transit into civilian regime, because that's what normally happens within African sector the moment there's a coup. And that is why you see that the Burkina Faso, they are also taking time. They were initially given 2 years. Before you know, they extend it. Mali the same thing, Guinea the same thing, because they also want to partake in what is coming up. And that's why we are saying that even though this is happening, we just hope that then these same guys will not transform into the new leadership that will now continue what they thought they want to eliminate. That has been my own personally, that's my own concern in all these scenarios that we are seeing.
Now, Nigeria is moving for the sanctions since military intervention is now out of it, given the rounds of disapproval that met it. Now, what other sanctions? Because they already thrown Niger into darkness.
Exactly. No
electricity supply. So, what other sanctions should think now will be consequential on the junta?
I think for me, the sanctions will maybe reduced. Now that ECOWAS also they are moving to the, and one of the things they are putting on the table is that, okay, we are going to give them a transition timetable to the military. We are going to propose to them that, okay, you guys should be in power for 1 year. I know those military guys will throw at the ECOWAS that want to be in power for 2 years. The ECOWAS will say, no, be in 1 year or 18 months. But then they will come to a round table and say, okay, this is what we want to do. Then for the sanction, the guy will talk back to ECOWAS and say, the sanction you have put on us, like the financial restriction from all these central bank in West Africa, I put a restriction on anybody that is doing business within Niger and their country, that the central bank should not be releasing funds for them. Now, they will ask that those sanctions should be reduced or eliminated. And if ECOWAS agree to that, they will remove that sanction. So, and for that transition to work, the military junta will state that they need an environment of economic suitability, whereby everything will work smoothly for them. And for that to work, that means ECOWAS will remove the sanction. Both economic sanction, both military sanction, whatever sanction the ECOWAS will put, they will remove it. Because if ECOWAS does not remove those sanctions, then this guy will tell you that since you are putting sanction on us, there is no way these transitions stop you are asking us to do will work. Because we will need money, we will need funding, we will need importation of goods and services into our country. And I think we need to have an economic environment to operate freely. So by the time they put all side by side, I believe that the sanction will reduce, and there will not be further sanction anymore. Although Western power may put on their own sanction.
Yes, we are hearing that US is threatening to attack. But we don't know how true that is.
I think I was watching the assistant press director in the Washington White House some few days back, and he said there is no yet any agreement on whether there are going to be any military action against the Niger. Rather, the US president is looking for every opportunity that can bring all the issues to a round table. And that's what they said. I don't know where the report of whether there are going to be a military action. And again, the current president of the US is not interested in too much of military expenditure outside the US in terms of the cost implication that's bringing on it. And if you remember, US just came out of a high inflation recently, just 4% from 6% it was. And again, the budgetary allocation of US has been suffering from budget deficit. That's why I see that there was always a very big debate in the White House when there was issue about cutting costs in governance. And cutting costs in governance means also cutting costs in military expenditure of the US government. And so I believe that US will not be interested in spending more money on military expenditure outside its territory at the point.
All right, thank you so much. Now I want to find out from you, has ECOWAS now become a toothless bulldog? Because from what you just mentioned in Burkina Faso, nothing was done, even with all the rollout sanctions.
I think what is happening is this: the African leaders, some of them are beginning to understand the perspective of Western power influence on their country, especially the economic challenges they are facing. Most of them are now beginning to discover that, okay, the problem of our economy is not just an internal issue, it's also an external issue. And that's why they begin to raise issues. And if you remember that Rwanda have opened the eyes of many of these African leaders to some things that most of them were not understanding before. But right now, they are beginning to understand what is happening. And again, the generation of the African leaders that we're having are not the ones that took power from colonial masters, especially in Francophone countries. The generation of African leaders that are operating, they are not the ones that colonial masters like France hand over power. Although we still have a few one of them like Cameroon, Chad. Chad own was that he took over power from his father. Then Burkina Faso, it has been let go. Mali, it has been let go. Guinea also has been let go. So a new generation of African leaders are now understanding that, okay, we need to have a new paradigm in understanding how to marshal a development of Africa. And they are learning from Southern African experiences, like Rwanda, like Congo, what these Western powers are doing. So they begin to think, is it not better we usher in a policy that will help our people than just rely on foreign donation and the rest of them. And again, Russia is already invading in terms of policy instrument they are using to attract African countries. China have done a lot in terms of aid. So they are looking at other perspectives that will be more, interesting to them, that will have less pressure than the one that, because Western powers have more pressure on African leaders in terms of the economic trade and the rest of them. But these other ones are coming with subtle interests that African leaders can quickly, negotiate about. Talk about the loans from China, talk about the grains that Russia is giving, talk about the support, military support that Russia is giving. They are not putting pressure on you. But this one, when they give you, they put so much pressure on you. And African leaders, as we speak right now, are looking far away from what is happening or what this Western power can offer them.
That is interesting. But at the end of the day, do you think the African leaders, because majorly the reason being put up by the military interventions in Africa is because of the bad governance that we have in Africa as a whole. Now, do you see Africans, like a report put it, that Africans are a danger to themselves?
Definitely, because we have a lot of Africans who are still stooges within ourselves. A lot of us are stooges who are stooges of the Western powers, who are interested in just continue the interest of the Western powers here. A good example is this. Just a few days ago, some people are complaining that GlaxoSmithKline left Nigeria. Nobody asked GlaxoSmith how much of a reinvestment has GlaxoSmithKline done in Nigeria. Nobody is asking them that question. They are speaking it. They are saying they are just complaining that the infrastructure is lack of infrastructure made them to leave. But nobody is asking them what form of investment have GlaxoSmithKline made in Nigeria, in terms of pharmaceutical research development in Nigeria, in terms of support to other pharmaceutical companies in Nigeria. Nobody is asking them questions, but we are only saying how, because we have a lot of our people that are students who are more interested in what they will gain working for this set of people. And it's a good thing that they leave, so that our own indigenous pharmaceutical company can take over the market space of which they are left. Because why I'm asking why I'm asking this question is that they said they left because of infrastructure paucity, challenges, and the rest of them. But we are asking, in terms of CRS, corporate social response, how much of it did they do? Now, everybody is changing to alternative energy. If it's about power, they made them to leave. How come they did not invest in alternative power source to help their factory? All this work. So nobody's asking them that question.
That when the economy was good.
Good, they were here. They were here.
Was favorable.
They were here. But now that the thing is a little bit shaky, they were supposed to give back to our society. So this also play across all sectors of the economy, whereby most of our people that enjoy this 2G's interest accumulation of wealth, whereby they believe that they will have to be importing goods from those countries instead of setting up plants here. These are the people that are talking about that support all these Western pressures. And these are the ones that ensure that the government doesn't think locally, but only looking at international pressures or international interests that will ensure that this set of people enjoy the wealth of Africa. And that's where we have found ourselves. But Rwanda have opened our eyes. Africa now need to think inwardly and empower their people. And that is the best way to go.
Yes, apart from we are having issues of corruption among our leaders. That is also, apart from furthering Western interests. How effective? We have leaders that are not that, so once they get there, they amass wealth to themselves, not only to themselves, to their family members and their friends and cronies. And this has not augured well for
the economy. You ask, brilliant. You ask. Then ask yourself, where are the wealth they are, the money they are stealing, where are they taking it to? It's the same Western countries. Most of our African leaders that are stole wealth go into what they call blind investments. They look for stockbrokers in Wall Street, they look for stockbrokers in New York, they look for stockbrokers in London, and invest their money. And those money turn the investment or the country or the economy of those countries around. But here we are suffering. At the end of the day, say they are giving us palliative, they are giving us donor money to change the economy. But we must look inward and see that if we want to tackle corruption, we must tackle it strongly. They have been against capital punishment for corruption. But they have a stringent measure that will not allow you to go. They weigh people, they do background check on people. Yeah, when we do background check on people, we don't normally get the best of information. But then they do all this. And here, when we want to put stringent measures, they say, no, it's all about human rights.
It's lawmakers that wouldn't say no. But I remember during which president, the bill was sponsored to have for stringent measures, punishment for. And the lawmakers said no.
No, they don't want it. The thing is that majority of our NGOs that are into human rights will come and say, no, it's not good, don't do that, don't do this. And look at the laws that we're even using to fight corruption. It's it doesn't have that stringent measure to cut corruption, whereby it is only the poor that suffer when it comes to stealing and robbery. But the rich man will always use technicality of the law to escape justice. And that's why we are saying
look at one of the senators. He was actually found guilty of all laws. But what happened? Exactly. It was overturned at the end of the day that the judge that made the pronouncement, his tenure has already expired. And he walked
nothing
away
to be done.
Up to now, EFCC told us they were going to reintroduce the case.
Exactly. They may do it. They may do it, but we just hope that the same law will not tie their hands and not make them to get justice.
How do you call it?
Back.
Something bad is past. Anyway, thank you so much for that. And just before we go, we also have an issue coming up. I think we were talking about these FIROS now being empowered to be the one to collect VAT.
I think for me, I'm quite excited that we're having a headway in our tax remittance collection.
Okay, first you commend it.
I commend it in the sense.
FIRS do all that.
The thing is that what FIRS is going to look at is to look at the critical tax collection processes of Nigeria. And one thing we must also understand is that we have about 62 agencies that are collecting taxes. The mandate, the law that established those agencies didn't establish them to be collecting taxes. The entire law about collection of taxes rests with FIRS. But those agencies collect it, and at the end of the day, they'll declare below what they collected. So FIRS is coming in a way that because it's the statutory body by constitution to collect all this money. Okay. Although we know that some of them will collect and take it to federation account. Now, if they are collecting on behalf of FIRS, give it to FIRS, then FIRS will do a background check on what you have collected. That is what is coming on board. Not that FIRS is now going to employ millions of Nigerians to be collecting tax. No, those agencies will still be collecting, but the update of what they are collecting rests with FIRS. They will do a background check on what they are collecting. Let's say, for example, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council that have been collecting money on export products and rest of them. Now, they know that in a year, they are targeting $2 billion. Now, FIRS know that $2 billion they are collecting, and they bring $1.8 billion. Why come where is the remaining change? Okay, there is bad business. FIRS will go into it and investigate actually whether it is done or not. And again, you know that most of them, when they collect, they spend more money in collection. And according to Nigerian Act and the Act that establishes FIRS can only spend 4% of whatever they are going to collect.
4 or more than?
No, 4%. 4% if they are collecting 2 billion. 4% of 2 billion will be used to collect the entire 2 billion. Now, some agency will go and collect money and they will spend almost half in name of collection. All that will stop with FIRS coming on board. So it will be like a background check. Custom will still be there at the port collecting all those charges. But at the end of the day, the FIRS will do a background check on what they have collected, whether it is accurate or it is false. And that is what is coming. And that's why I'm happy that it's a harmonization.
Now, with this harmonization, as you put it, FIRS will now have its hands full. Do you think it will be able to do all that, absorb all this new responsibilities?
The law that created them, or they are even on the work, on the function in the way, because they're supposed to be doing a background check on. That's why there was a time they're having issue with custom. Custom will say we collected so money. FIRS will say no, it wasn't like that. It was like this. It was like this. But until they digitalize the tax collection system, that's where the problem now is. Now we are now coming with more updated digitalization of the tax system in Nigeria. I'm so happy that this is coming, but we just hope that it will not be abused. Because Nigerian problem is not to have a law. The problem is to ensure that the law is implementable and it's applicable to our environment. Now, if FIRS is going to be suitable to collect every tax in Nigeria, it should be suitable too in a way that we can have the environment also okay for them to work. Not that an environment is not okay for them to work. They go into a particular sector, they want to collect money, and people begin to use the law against them to fight them, and begin to use one politician against them. That's what we don't expect. That's why I said that law is to create law in Nigeria is very easy, but to make it work is where
It's
we
where
have
the problem
issues.
is.
But we just hope that with this thing coming up, everything will be rested and we have a very free hand to collect our tax. And we can have enough money
So
for
with
our
this
project.
uniformization of tax collection, we are going to have increase.
Definitely there will be an increase. Already it has been established that there is 20 trillion tax evasion as a result of what? Official negligence on the part of government officials that are supposed to collect this money. With this committee that is coming up with FRS, that means there is going to be the gap will be reduced. Even though they may not be able to collect all the 20 trillion at a go, but it will be reduced. And again, there's also a target of 18% to tax, 18% tax to GDP that we are targeting. Already we are operating between 5 to 8%. That's why last year FRS was able to achieve 10 trillion in a year because they digitalize the processes. But now it's going to be 18% to GDP by in the next 3 years. That's the target of the president. And again, the gap within the tax system of 20 trillion that we are losing to tax evasion, tax negligence, and the rest of them, they are going to bring all in. But I'm not expecting them to bring all the entire 20 trillion, but at least they will work very well to achieve something. But the key message that this is bringing is that Nigerians will now understand that the key message or the key work of tax is to ensure that we see tax working for us. That is the essence of this committee.
Yes,
that's why they joined it together. Initially, it was tax policy committee, but now they are not say fiscal policy and tax reform. In the sense that the fiscal aspect is to take care of our project, whatever we are going to get from taxes, we use it to take care of our fiscal issue. That is our road project, our school project, our health project, and the rest of them. And that is why the committee is coming. It's a 1 in 2. But we know that it's going to work together for entirely all sectors of Nigeria.
Thank you so much for that explanation. Now, just before we go, we have another story I want you to throw light on. Now, since last month, Nigerians have been awash with a so-called, so to speak, can of worms emanating from the investigation of job racketeering, IPs, all whatnot shenanigans, and up to now is only FCC that has been under the radar, and reps orders AGL to produce IPs officer queries APCON budget office.
I think
you've been following up the story
about since on Monday. This is what has been a major discussion on major platforms.
Yes.
And the
leadership
reason,
did editorial on it.
And the reason why this is why FCC is into the news is that nobody is expecting FCC to be recruiting, and people are mistaking
and
that.
to think that they have been recruiting behind closed doors, just selling spaces.
And well,
what
is happening? Let me give you a background explanation. Well, no agencies recruit.
Yes.
FCC is to verify what they have done. If they have met the criteria of all the geopolitical zone, all the 36 states,
it's
all
like
the
let FCC knows job vacancies. I think agencies give to them FCC
to
advertise.
Not that to advertise.
The head of service based on saying that their job is to advertise with the budget. I don't know how they would put it. And maybe fill in those spaces.
No, this is what they do. Constitutionally, this is their work. Agencies on their own will identify gaps in their personnel. Then if it's an agency that is working directly with the head of service work majorly with ministries. Head of service is the palm set of ministries that now work with agencies under their ministries. So each of these agencies will now submit that we need recruitment. You know, in their budgeting process, every year they will put that we need 500 million for new recruitment. They submit it to their ministry, their mother ministry put everything together. They pass it to Minister of National Budget Planning, rest of them. The Minister of Budget put it to Finance. They put all those things in the budget outline of each ministry, and they also indicate how many workers they are going to recruit. Now, once approval is given to go and do that recruitment, then the agency will liaise with FCC that we are going to carry out recruitment and we have done advertisement. Then they will send a copy of the advertisement to FCC. Now, when the FCC receive the copy, when the recruitment is done, when the final list of all recruited successful candidates is done, they will now forward the list to FCC. Now, FCC will now check whether they have met the criteria of the 6 zones, including FCT and the 734 local government and the 36 state and FCT. They check whether they have met it. Once they have met it, they ask them to go ahead and do whatever they want to do. But the problem is this: FCC on their own seek favors from all these agencies. The people who man FCC now seek favors.
I just wanted to ask you, as if you knew that, how come the FCC now became the one that is giving letters?
So it is this favor they seek from those agencies. Is like you seek favor from us. Okay, we'll give you 10 candidates. The 10 candidates they give it to FCC. FCC, instead of it to give it freely to Nigeria will now sell it. That's what is happening. And when they sell it, the board share. But what now happened was that in the last 4-5 months, the head of FCC now wrote a letter to Auditor General office that anytime there's any recruitment coming, employment something coming from their office, it is only a letter signed by her that should be honored for IPPIS registration. That's where the problem arises. And that's where the board member are now against that. Why should she do something like that? Meanwhile, all of us have been eating together. Now, only you want to start eating. What it means that if they bring a list of favor candidates, it's only when she signed the letter that's when the IPPIS will be done for them. If she don't sign it, the general office will not accept it. And that's where the bubble busted. Then the committee members started.
This issue is not new because it was reported in 2021.
Exactly.
It was the same thing. Some members who dubbed themselves concerned commissioners also wrote to EFCC to probe the so-called funny. But what is happening? What can be done? Because you discover that every cadre, every sector of the economy is corrupt.
It's because we have monetized our political system in a way that every juicy opportunity that people find themselves in, they now use the opportunity to reap or to pay themselves back. Actually, this lady Mueba Dankata was saying, she said she's a farmer. And I asked, you're a farmer, then what are you doing in the government? She said she's a political party member, they brought her in, whatever.
It was Buhari that nominated her. Of course, her appointment generated act like that time because given the fact that even the secretary is also from
the same place. So it was...
And of course, Buhari, his usual characteristic manner, did not care because he also...
He doesn't even know the woman. He doesn't know the woman. It was people that recommend the woman to her, that this woman is one of our key APC member in Taraba to let us compensate them. And that is what happened. And they brought her in to come and work. Instead of working, she started doing... And
even the reps, also the IP's officer that worked with her before, that now got a job in APCON, also had 78 million naira in his account.
This 78 million naira is the number of jobs they have sold out that he will not be giving the woman cash.
But his case didn't make sense in the sense that he said he was using POS. For how much can POS take?
You can parley with the POS person now. You just tell him, as long as the POS person has a lot of money, you can parley with them and they will be paying more charges. You're like meeting the POS. It's okay, I have 50,000.
Just get it from your account.
No. The thing is that they will put more eye on him. If he goes to his bank to go and withdraw, if he doesn't have a good relationship with your account officer, it may be a problem.
Because that's what happened.
And again, with the EFCC stuff, that a personal account that should not be more than 2 million and someone is having 70 million, you know what it means. And what it means is that maybe as they are sending the money, they are collecting it immediately. Not that they are allowing the money to rest in that account. So, but what he did that to give a brief of all the total money he has gotten so far in the racketeering they have done.
It's really, really sad. Unfortunately, time is out running against us. If not, we would have continued this discussion. And you know me. Well, we've heard it all on today's Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. And my Thursday guest has been quite adept in analyzing stories that have made the rounds, especially this week. His name is Adefolari Olamilekon. He's a political scientist and also public affairs analyst. Thank you so much. So good to have you in the program. And this is where we end today's Inside Nigeria, August 10th, 2023. My name is Winifred Ugbebo. I will come your way again same time tomorrow. Stay tuned. Bye.